Hey, good evening, everybody. I've been asked by a lot of people what the different tomatoes are good for. All I grow are heirlooms. I find that they have a better diversity in flavor and texture, and I can play with them very simply. So we're going to go through the tomatoes that I grow and what they're good for and the different types and things like that. Okay? All right, so we're going to turn around. Here we go. Now, as you can see, it's all different colors. Okay? Now, like I said, I grow heirloom tomatoes. Everything that you see on this board, its seeds date centuries back. Okay? So, there's two different types of tomato, basically, regardless of what you're seeing. There's paste tomatoes or sauce tomatoes, and then there's slicing tomatoes. Okay? And those are really the only two types. Everything else is just a variance on a theme. So we're going to look at the sauce tomatoes right now. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of tomatoes here that are sauce tomatoes. These are ox hearts. Okay? You can see it kind of looks like a heart, for lack of a better term. It does come in two different shapes. One is more pearish, if you would, like this. Okay? And it comes looking like a heart as well. And the idea is, you know, it looks like a heart, so they named it ox heart. Down here, these are a little bit smaller. This, you can see how flat it is. There we go. See how flat it is? On the tomato itself is flat. That is an alpaca. Again, that's a paste tomato or a sauce tomato. This, it looks like a torpedo. This is a Roma tomato. Then this here, this itty bitty, we had problems with our nutrient in the soil this year, but this is actually a San Marzano. San Marzano is also an heirloom. Okay? Now these monsters right here, these also are sauce tomatoes. If you look at it, the bottom of it comes to a point. It's not flat. Okay? Very similar to here, where it comes down to a point. Okay? Here, where it comes down to a point. And the same with these three here. Okay? That's a good way to tell, for the most part. There are exceptions to the rule, of course, that, see, again, kind of comes down to a point. Albeit a dull point on that one. These two large ones are Italian heirlooms. Those seeds came from Seed Saver Exchange via a friend of mine, Sue Barron. And we have 3 varieties here from Sue today that we planted. And so that's our sauce tomatoes. Now the Italian heirloom is also good for just slicing into a sandwich. Okay? Now the biggest determination of what makes a good slicing tomato and what makes a good sauce tomato is a sauce tomato has more meat in it and fewer seeds. Okay, because the idea is you make a better sauce with less seeds. Okay, whereas a slicing tomato has more seeds than meat. Okay, so the Italian heirlooms are good for sauce as well as slicing. Same with the ox hearts. You know, in a pinch, they do really well in a sandwich. Okay, but then we come over here to these slicing tomatoes. And quite the variety, don't you think? These here are they look like regular early girls or something like that, but no. They're called German Johnsons. They get a very rich, dark red color on the inside of the flesh. And like I said, there's more seeds. This here is a green zebra. It's got the nice green striping. It turns a little orange. And as you let it sit, the oranging gets more prevalent. And here, this is about as far as we'll ever take it, because you can just barely make the green out. And it's almost orange. And then we have, this one here is a Kellogg's Breakfast. It's a nice slicing yellow tomato. This is known as a Valencia. Now this is probably one of the few exceptions to the pointy bottom rule, if you would. Okay? Because this has a pointy bottom, but it is by no means a sauce tomato. Can we use any of these for sauce? Yes. However, that being said, the sauce turns out with much more seeds, and you have a lot more juice that you have to reduce down. Okay? And then these here, this is not quite ripe yet, but this is called an Ohio bicolor. I mean, just look at the size. Those are nice sandwich tomatoes right there. And I got to tell you, they are sweet, like somebody just poked a hole in it and filled it with sugar. And with no exaggeration. It's great tomato flavor, but really sweet. The yellow have fantastic tomato flavor, but no acid. Okay, it's a very low acid tomato, so any yellow tomato you're going to find in the grocery stores or at farm stands or whatever, yellow tomatoes have low acid. Okay, which is great for people who have acid reflux or something like that, but they still want to be able to have a nice fresh tomato if their bodies can handle it. Okay, the green zebras are very tangy. Even though they're ripe, they're still green. Okay, we use those primarily for fried green tomatoes with a nice cornmeal breading on the outside. Excuse me. Nice spicy ravigote or remoulade on the top. I got to tell you, first sandwich of the year, first BLT sandwich of the year, comes with the first tomato, and the first tomato was a green zebra. And so we made fried green tomatoes and turned them into BLTs. And I got to tell you, it was delicious. So good. The German Johnsons, again, nice dark flesh, very tangy. Not very tangy, but it's more like a regular tomato, if you know what I mean. The tomato you get in the grocery store, or the regular tomatoes you get from the farm stands that are just round, red, and signify or show you what you're used to seeing as a tomato. And that's kind of what I like about doing heirlooms. Some years you just don't know what you're going to get, and it's fun. Different colors, different flavors, different textures even. You know, the sauce tomatoes tend to be very, very soft because they want to break down in a sauce and contribute to that rich viscosity. Whereas that green tomato right there is very firm. Even though it's ripe, it's firm and it's tangy. And then the bicolor is kind of in the middle. I mentioned Sue Barron and her husband Cliff. They gave us the Ohio bicolor, the Kellogg's Breakfast, and the Italian Heirlooms. So thank you for that, Cliff and Sue. It's very much appreciated. So here's the deal, folks. If you have any other questions or want to know more about specific tomatoes or whatever, just drop me a comment underneath the video. And I do answer all the comments. It might take me a day or two to get to you because I am trying to stay busy. So anyways, that is our tomato session for the evening. You guys have a great night, okay? Sleep well.